A loud crash shattered the dojo's rhythm. Ricky, lean, loud, and full of ego, had just kicked over Jason Statham's gym bag. Gloves and wraps scattered across the floor as Ricky shouted, "CGI punches don't belong in a real gym, Hollywood." The entire room paused. Jason sat quietly on the bench, hoodie up, hands folded, not moving, just watching. "Hey, I'm talking to you, stunt double." Ricky barked, circling him. "This a movie set, or are you actually breathing back there?" No answer. Kyle and Nate laughed behind him, fueling the fire. Phones started recording. Even the heavy bags seemed to stop swinging. Jason's eyes lifted. "I was just watching," he said calmly. Ricky smirked. "Then watch this. 1 round. Unless you're scared." Trainer Lou hesitated. Jason didn't. He stood. No rush. No noise. Just steel in his gaze. "Let's go." Ricky snorted. "Run, Hollywood." Jason took 1 step forward. Everyone knew he wasn't running. He was ending it. Before we proceed, like and subscribe to catch Jason Statham's epic face-off with amateur fighter, and comment where you're watching from today. The air inside Steel Pulse Dojo buzzed with raw tension and humid sweat. Punch mitts cracked, pads slapped, and the sharp clink of chain-link cage rattles echoed through the dimly lit San Diego gym. It was sparring night. Every fighter was on edge, either sweating out rounds or circling like sharks, waiting their turn. Jason Statham sat alone on a bench near the far wall. Hoodie up, hands resting on his thighs, eyes sharp and still. He blended in, quiet but observant. No entourage. No ego. Just a lean frame, stillness forged in 1,000 hours of real combat. His presence was low-key, but those who noticed felt it. He was watching everything. Across the mat, Ricky Martinez paced like he owned the place. Mid-20s, wiry build, mouth constantly moving. Amateur fighter. Loud presence. Viral ambition. And worst of all, he had a grudge. Ricky didn't just train to win. He trained to be noticed. And nothing got him more attention than taking shots at someone famous. Especially someone like Jason Statham. Ricky's 2 cronies, Kyle and Nate, hovered nearby, laughing too loud, shadowboxing for show, tossing glances toward Jason like he was the main course. The 3 of them had been ramping up their act all night, picking targets, mocking other fighters. Now they had locked eyes on one, Jason. At the center of it all, Coach Lou stood with his hands on his hips, balding, grizzled, tough. He had trained generations of fighters, and Jason had once been one of them. Lou wasn't surprised to see him stop by tonight. Jason did that sometimes when he was in town, but the tension in the room was new. Lou saw Ricky acting up, and he knew. Across the mat, a glint of light reflected off a phone lens, someone already filming. The air shifted. Words were heating up. Attention turned, fighters slowing their reps, pads falling silent as anticipation spiked. Jason still hadn't moved. But the cage was charged, and everyone felt it coming. The Steel Pulse Dojo dropped a decibel the moment Ricky stomped toward Jason's corner. "Hey, fake fighter." Ricky's voice cut through the air like a slap. "CGI not working today?" He leaned down, shoved Jason's duffel bag with his foot. It skidded sideways, top unzipping slightly, training gloves and a towel spilling out onto the mat. Jason didn't move. Across the room, heads turned. Fighters paused. The tempo of pads and mitts slowed. Phones were already out. Ricky grinned, hands raised like he had just scored a point. "Oops," he said mockingly. "Guess that was real." Kyle and Nate cackled behind him. "Bet those gloves still got green screen paint on them," Nate muttered. Jason looked down at the bag. Then up at Ricky. Controlled. "Footwork's enough," he said evenly. His tone wasn't defensive. It was factual. Like someone who did not owe an explanation. He just needed balance. Ricky squinted. "What?" Jason nodded toward the younger fighter who had been practicing in the cage earlier. Jason had helped him with pivots during a break. "The kid you ignored. He's got potential. Don't ruin it with loud coaching." That struck a nerve. Ricky stepped closer, now looming. "Loud coaching," he repeated. "You walk in here, sit on your Hollywood high horse, and think you can teach my guys?" Jason tilted his head, unfazed. "I did not teach. I helped." Phones kept rising. Lou's voice cracked faintly from across the mat. "All right, boys, cool it." But Ricky raised his hand, cutting him off. "Nah, let's settle it right now. You want to talk footwork?" He pointed at the cage. "Spar or quit the peanut gallery." Jason's expression remained unreadable. "Come on, movie boy," Ricky taunted, circling a little now. "Let's see if you bleed in real life." Kyle and Nate hooped in the background like corner men hyping a prizefighter. Jason's fingers laced calmly together, resting between his knees. "I didn't come here to spar," he said. "Then you better leave," Ricky said, stepping even closer now. And then it happened. Ricky jabbed his shoulder. Not a punch, just a sharp, dismissive shove. But it carried intent. Disrespect. Power. Jason shifted slightly with the impact, his posture rocked, but only for a second. Then he straightened. The room went still. His eyes, no longer calm, locked onto Ricky like lasers. Controlled, cold precision settled into his frame. "You sure you want that round?" Jason asked. Ricky scoffed, grinning wide. "Oh, I'm counting on it." And just like that, the cage wasn't just for training anymore, it was about to become a lesson. "1 round. Let's see what Hollywood's got." Ricky barked, stepping forward and throwing a looping right fist. Fast, showy, but wild. Jason moved like water, his body barely tilting to the side, just enough to let the punch slice air. No flinch. No waste. Just calm evasion. The dojo exploded. Phones lifted like it was a title fight. Dozens of screens lit up, capturing every frame. The moment was no longer between two fighters, it had gone viral in real time. Ricky pulled back, blinking. That punch usually made guys panic or swing back. Jason had barely moved, like he was watching slow motion. "Damn," someone whispered from the side of the cage. "Did you see that?" "Bro, he's not just some movie guy," another murmured, eyes wide. Kyle, still amping from behind, yelled, "Light him up, Rick. He's all cameras." Ricky nodded quickly, too quickly, masking the sudden flicker of doubt in his eyes. He bounced on his toes again, trying to recapture the rhythm. Jason hadn't even raised his fists yet. He just stood there, expression unreadable. Focused. Composed. At the edge of the mat, Lou, Jason's former stunt coach, crossed his arms. He had not said a word, but his presence anchored the room. Jason glanced at him once. Lou gave the slightest nod. That was all it took. Jason stepped forward. One fluid motion, hoodie off, folded neatly and tossed beside the bag Ricky had shoved earlier. His black shirt clung to his frame, showing a lean build shaped by real-world discipline. Not for show, but for purpose. He stepped up to the center mat. Ricky was already there, pacing like a dog that had not figured out the fence was electric. Jason's voice cut clean. 1 round. The crowd hushed. No intro music. No gloves. Just a clean showdown waiting to detonate. Ricky threw another jab, this time closer, just to touch distance. Jason didn't flinch. Instead, he shifted his weight and kept his hands low. A few gasps rippled through the room. "You see that?" someone whispered. "He's baiting him." From the corner, Nate muttered to Kyle, "Wait, what if we messed up?" Jason moved first. A single step in. Then paused. Every head turned. Even Ricky stopped bouncing. Then Jason took one breath, eyes narrowing. His whole body seemed to lock in. A cold focus clicked into place. It was not the stance of a guy trying to prove himself. It was the stance of a man who already had. Jason circled slightly, his shoes making no sound. Ricky twitched, confused. He had expected anger. He got control. Jason's eyes scanned Ricky's posture. Tight shoulders, shaky footwork, too much weight on the lead leg. And that was when the crowd shifted. Yo, he's not scared. Another voice added. He's studying him. It's over. Even Lou leaned forward slightly, sensing the shift. Jason waited. And when Ricky didn't move, Jason did. A half step forward. That was all. But the gym erupted with cheers. Phones tilted higher. Everyone leaned in. Jason had not thrown a single punch yet. But somehow, he had already won the room. Ricky lunged first, sloppy, aggressive, trying to end it early. He threw a wild overhand right. Jason's response? Clean. Precise. He pivoted left, slipped inside the arc, and parried the punch with a single flick of his forearm. His eyes never left Ricky's. Ricky's momentum carried him too far forward. Jason punished it. Crack. A low leg kick, shin to thigh, dead center. Ricky's stance buckled slightly. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Jason did not stop. He followed instantly with a tight left hook to the body. The thud of impact made Ricky grunt audibly, loud enough for the room to hear. "OOHH!" someone in the back shouted. Ricky staggered backward, shocked. His grin was gone. Jason stepped forward again, still calm. He was not chasing. He was cutting angles, like a surgeon with gloves. Ricky, now desperate to swing back, threw a frantic jab-cross combo. Jason ducked under both, slipped to the outside, and then grabbed. One swift move, he caught Ricky's waist and lifted. The takedown was not flashy, it was violent and effective. Ricky slammed onto the mat, shoulders bouncing off the canvas with a dull thud that echoed across the cage. The cage shook. Phones jolted. Trainers on the sidelines leaned forward. Jason loomed over Ricky, just for a breath. Then dropped an elbow, tight, fast, and perfectly placed. Crack. Ricky's head bounced off the canvas. His lips split. Blood dripped onto the mat. Silence. For 1 second, the entire gym went dead silent. Ricky blinked up at the lights, dazed, mouth open, searching for air that was not coming fast enough. Nate and Kyle, who had been hyping him just minutes ago, stood frozen, unsure whether to yell or run. Jason stood. He did not gloat. He walked a slow, half-circle around Ricky, who tried and failed to get to one knee. Jason crouched instead. Focused. He leaned in, voice low so only Ricky could hear it. Done. And that was it. Jason stepped back. Ricky collapsed flat again, breath wheezing. Every muscle in his body screamed from the compact punishment he had just endured. Someone in the crowd finally broke the silence. "That's Jason Statham," a grizzled voice said near the back. "He trained with Benny the Jet, mate." Another voice shouted, "It's real." And just like that, the room erupted. Cheers, claps, whoops. Phones flew higher. Screens flooded TikTok, Instagram, Reels. The clip was already viral by the time Jason reached his hoodie. "Yo, this just hit 2 mil on TikTok," someone shouted from behind the cage. Jason calmly zipped his bag. Ricky's crew stood frozen, silent. Kyle had his arms crossed, staring at the floor. Nate was checking his phone, not even pretending to care about Ricky anymore. In the center of the mat, Ricky coughed weakly, still stunned. His swagger? Gone. His ego? Crushed. And Jason did not say another word. He tossed a quick nod to Lou, who had been standing still, watching with pride and restraint. The coach gave him a single nod back. One legend to another. No one needed to say it. Jason Statham had just reminded everyone in that dojo. He was not a movie fighter. He was the real thing. Ricky sat on the mat, legs sprawled, sweat dripping, blood still running from his split lip. His chest rose and fell with short, shallow breaths. The swagger was gone. His eyes darted around the room, looking for an exit, an excuse, anything. But there was no exit now. The only thing standing in front of him was truth. Jason stood still at the edge of the cage, hoodie back on, calm, composed, like nothing had happened. His breathing was steady. His focus was already somewhere else. Lou stepped forward. His expression said everything. Pride, respect, and just a hint of "I told you so." Jason didn't say a word yet. He let Ricky sit in it. The humiliation. The silence. The weight of 1,000 cameras. Then Ricky's hand lifted slowly, shaking. Not to punch. To gesture. "I was wrong," he muttered, voice barely audible. Jason turned. "What was that?" he said, not mocking, just firm, letting it land. Ricky gulped air. "I was wrong," he said louder this time. I shouldn't have disrespected you. Or this place." He looked around. His crew, Kyle and Nate, were slumped on the bench, silent now, not even pretending to stand tall anymore. They avoided eye contact. "Sorry," Ricky said again, this time to the gym. And then, to Lou. "I was out of line, coach." Lou nodded once, jaw tight. Jason finally walked toward Ricky, knelt slightly, and said just loud enough for the first row to hear. "Lesson learned. Now get back up and do better. No gloating. No smirk. Just respect." Ricky nodded like a school kid caught cheating, slowly rising to his feet. The gym stayed silent for a beat longer, the weight of it hanging thick, until one clap broke the quiet. Then two. Then a wave. Cheers rippled through the fighters around the mat. Some nodded. Others simply stared at Jason with wide eyes. "That's real," one of the amateur fighters whispered. "He's not just stunts. He's legit." Phones were still filming, but now it was different. It was not just a viral clip, it was a moment. A teaching moment. A turning point. Lou stepped closer to Jason, chuckling under his breath. "You always did know how to shut down a loud mouth." Jason shrugged. "Sometimes pain talks louder than words." Lou clapped him on the shoulder. "You've still got it." Jason gave a faint smile. "Respect the mat," he said aloud, just once, for Ricky, for the crowd, for everyone watching. And with that, Jason turned and walked across the mat toward the locker room. The air seemed to part for him, like even the atmosphere knew it had just witnessed something rare. No raised fists. No mic drop. Just quiet authority. The legend walked off, not for fame, not for applause, but because it was the right thing to do. By the time he reached the door, the gym had fully erupted again. "Jason freakin' Statham," someone shouted. "What a beast." Clips were already uploading. Ricky stood at the center of it all, still sore, still red-faced, but not broken. Just humbled. And learning. And back on the bench, someone whispered with reverence. "Now that's how you earn respect." The gym will never forget what happened that night. Ricky, the loudmouth, the viral chaser, the guy who mocked legends, stood in silence, sweat still clinging to his skin, ego burned to the ground. He had walked in swinging for clout and left with a lesson written in bruises and silence. One round. That was all it took to flip a story built on bravado into one anchored in truth. The video hit 2 million views by morning. Headlines read, "Jason Statham destroys trash talk in one round," without saying a word. But the real moment lived not online, but in the eyes of every fighter who watched skill beat ego in real time. Jason never bragged. He never raised his voice. He just stood. And as he walked out, the message was clear. Real skill doesn't need hype, because real mastery humbles it. And Jason Statham? He proved it undeniably.